The Tournament of Champions, a place where only the best of the best compete. But in its storied history, the PBA signature event has never assembled a final field like it has today. For the first time in history, 4 of the 5 players in today's competition are reigning major champions. Masters winner and newly crowned Player of the Year, Jason Belmonte. PBA World Champion, Barrett. U.S. Open winner, Malott. And the Hall of Fame legend attempting to defend his TOC title, Pete Weber. All are here and all are ready to compete for the most coveted title of the 2014 season, the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions. Welcome to historic Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan, for the Stepladder final of the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions. Let's meet the 5 finalists.
The number 5 seed is a member of both the PBA and USBC Halls of Fame. From St. Anne, Missouri, the defending champion, Pete Weber. The number 4 seed is looking for his first career major championship. From Windsor, Ontario, Canada, MacLelland. The number 3 seed is the 2013 U.S. Open champion from Pflugerville, Texas, Malott. The number 2 seed is the reigning PBA World Champion from Colchester, England, Barrett. The number 1 seed is the 2013 USBC Masters Champion from New South Wales, Australia, the reigning PBA Player of the Year, Jason Belmonte. These are your 5 finalists for the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions.
An historic stepladder final of the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions. Pete Weber and MacLelland will get things started. Nothing but major titleists all the way up the ladder. Malott, Barrett, and Jason Belmonte, the tournament leader. And hello again, everybody. Mike Jakubowski with PBA Hall of Famer Randy Peterson. Kimberly Pressler reporting laneside. She'll be joining us shortly. Randy, Jason Belmonte led the Tournament of Champions by a mile. Is he the best player in the world right now?
Yes, he is. He was just voted Player of the Year. He's made the last 7 out of 8 major telecasts. He led this event by over 360 pins. He has the strongest, most powerful strike ball in the history of professional bowling, Mike. And when he's able to repeat shots, he's unbeatable. When Belmonte is firing on all cylinders, there's only 2 things that can beat him: a 1-game match or an act of God.
Let's flash back to last year's title match, Pete Weber versus Jason Belmonte. Weber prevailed. What was the difference?
Difference was ball reaction. Pete Weber was able to blend the reaction out. Belmonte had to get way in, lob the gutter cap. When he got it to the right too early, it split. In fact, he threw 3 splits. Weber was able to blend both lanes out using 2 different bowling balls. He had the perfect release going. The perfect PDW showed up for last year's Tournament of Champions.
The amazing, incredible Pete Weber. Once again attempting to rewrite the history books, and he's standing by right now with Kimberly Pressler.
Thanks, guys. Pete, you're the defending champion of this event, but the last time we saw you compete in a major, you were actually sitting in the same position where you had to climb the step ladder in order to win. You fell short there, but today you've got some major obstacles in front of you. Not only do you have to get through this match, but then you've got to get through 3 reigning major champions in order to win. How daunting of a task is this for you?
Kimberly, you make it sound so hard. I mean, really, You're right, though. I do have a big task in front of me today. I haven't counted anything yet. I have to work hard, keep the ball in play, and just outstrike my opponents.
Have you given it any thought that if you win today, you are going to set the records for the most majors won ever?
I'll think about that after I win.
Good luck to you today.
Thanks.
Pretty confident Pete Weber. As you take a look at the 39-foot Tournament of Champions oil pattern, this is an extremely high-scoring oil pattern used this week, Mike. We had 11 300 games. Jason Belmonte averaged over 243 for 49 games. The players are going to start in the middle part of the lane, and as the oil pattern breaks down, they're just going to migrate in. The reason for the high scores? Plenty of oil in the middle of the lane.
Dan MacLelland has elected to start our opening match. Left lane. Tournament of Champions underway, 2-pin.
And speaking with Dan, I asked him how he was going to attack this oil pattern while he was practicing, and he said, well, I'm going to see what my ball reaction looks like. I can do two things. I can go really straight, or I can move in and hook it with the best of them. That shot, obviously, very straight.
Spare for MacLelland, and we're underway. Packed house here at Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. There he is, Hall of Famer Pete Weber. You heard Kimberly mention the obstacles in the way, but history in the making. Weber trying to tie the record for TOC titles at 3 and beat the record of the great Earl Anthony with 10 all-time PBA majors. Opening shot, right lane. Overcooks it just a bit. 310 the baby split.
And look for the right lane to hook more than the left lane all day long. It's because of the topography of the two lanes. Pete gets it right, ball overhooks, and he starts out with a baby split. The idea here is to cover both pins with the bowling ball.
It's an open frame for Weber. And Tracy Weber often providing inspiration right behind Pete.
Pete Weber making the last 3 telecasts in majors. Dan MacLelland, although he hasn't won a national title, has made 4 major telecasts to his credit. So Dan has been in this position before. The only thing missing on his resume is a win.
Weber moves to the left lane after the open frame. Second frame, opening match. And Weber kicks out the 10 on the board with a strike.
And Pete told me before we went on the air that one of the keys for him was ball speed. He had to make sure that his speed was soft enough. It worked perfectly on the left lane. He's going to have to make an adjustment on the right lane.
Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions. 88 players, national titleists, regional titleists, women's series titleists, regional titleists invited to compete. 88 played, cut to the top 24 after 25, and then a traditional round of robin match play, and just the 7-pin for MacLelland.
Well, that's the last thing you want to see if you're Dan MacLelland, throwing a pretty good shot here and almost leaving a pocket 7-10. The head pin goes to the sidewall, knocks the 10 out. Dan was happy to see that. You don't want to follow an opening from your opponent with an open frame yourself.
Spare for MacLelland. Randy, Dan feels he has the home field advantage. His wife, his family, and his friends were here. In fact, he's been in this building since he was 8. His father used to bowl in competitive leagues in this environment. How important is a potential home field advantage in having mom and wife and friends cheering you on?
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think that it could create pressure or added pressure, but it's also nice to bowl in front of family and friends. You know, for Dan, I think it's a blessing in disguise. I think it's going to help him.
Strike for MacLelland.
He's a real talented guy that can do multiple things with the bowling ball. A real high-rev power player that can also go straight as he plays to the crowd. That's awesome.
Pete mentioned defending a title is awesome. Never give up when you're close. And early adversity for Weber on the open frame. Championship banner in the background. Weber now and double up.
And a double for Weber.
Well, this Tournament of Champions title's only been defended by one player, and that was Jason Couch, who did it 3 times. He was the three-peat of this championship. As we take a look at Weber's finish right here, as he slips just a little bit, but he did make the adjustment, and that ball finished perfect in the 1-3 pocket.
Interesting to note, Randy, the synthetic lane surface and the natural surface of the wood approaches.
Yeah, it's an unusual combination, and one that you don't see very often anymore. I personally love it. I love the wood approaches with the synthetic lanes.
So Weber, after the open frame, little crowd distraction, Pete will reset.
And take a look at Pete Weber's arsenal as he's using a high road. You notice how it's not the strongest piece of equipment in that arsenal, and so it's vital for Weber to maintain the proper ball speed to make sure the ball hooks off the end of the oil pattern.
So Weber back on the left lane after the reset, riding a double here. 4th frame opening match. Comes across the head pin, just leaves the 10.
Well, he didn't like it as soon as it left his hand, and I'm not sure if Pete is quite comfortable yet with his ball reaction. That ball looked like it was well left to target, and for a professional at this level, the only time a player misses like that is when he's unsure.
What's he gesticulating there?
Just talking about what his hand was doing at release, and then what the ball motion looked like after it left his hand.
MacLelland working to calm down, slow the heart rate. He's trying to stay down on the shot. Soft hand, let the ball do the rest. 4th frame. Ball did too much there. 10 pin.
He looked like he got fast and then grabbed it at the bottom of the swing. And when a player doesn't get the ball off their hand cleanly at the point of release, normally there's a grab involved, and when that happens, 9 times out of 10, the ball is going to be left of target.
Spare for MacLelland. He says it's a tough road to go through, but he is staying focused right now.
My mind, I'm just thinking I got 4 other players to go through to win my first title. Just going out there and bowling my game. I don't want to get all into the hype of last 4 major championship winners. You know, I just need to do what I need to do to win, and that's all I'm focused on right now.
5th frame for MacLelland. Strike!
Now you talk about controlling the nerves, and it's a tall order for Dan MacLelland. Not that he's not capable, but think about the murderer's row that he has to go through just to get to the title match to have a chance to win. First, he's got to dispose of Weber. Then it's Malott, your reigning U.S. Open champion. Then it's Barrett, your reigning world champion. And then his consolation prize is he gets to bowl the Player of the Year, Jason Belmonte. But if you're going to win a major, this is the way to do it for young Dan MacLelland.
Light hit, 2-8, double wood.
Pete Weber's ball reaction is not good, and it's evident by the last 2 shots. It's really the only reason why he doesn't get to the pocket. It's either he's chosen the wrong ball or he's playing the lanes incorrectly, and 9 times out of 10 for Pete, it's the wrong ball.
Weber picks up the spare, the 2 and the sleeper. He trails by 3 pins. We enter the 6th frame. Winner here will get Wes Malott as the number 3 seed. Barrett and Belmonte yet to come.
Mike J., if you're Dan MacLelland right now, you have to somehow figure out a way to regulate the nerves, the heartbeat, and the adrenaline, because he can win this match. All he has to do is make good shots. He's got a better ball reaction. He's in the driver's seat and he doesn't know it. He just needs to remain calm and make good shots.
Defending champion Weber in the 6th. Didn't like it. And again, coming up high, 3-6-10.
Boy,
again, the bad shots
what's going on?
Because of apprehension
Go the ball, that's for sure.
due to a bad ball reaction. He's unsure what's going to happen when he goes right with it. He knows that if he misses left, it's not going to hold pocket.
Oh, and now open frame.
Sorry, can't let go of the ball. I don't know why. Not good, Pete.
Not a good start for our defending champion. Couple of open frames. Dan MacLelland in the driver's seat. Can he advance to face Wes Malott? Find out next at the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions. The Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions is brought to you by Barbasol, Close Shave America, Close Shave Barbasol. By Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. By HotelPlanner.com, the best place to book hotel rooms. Best rooms, best rate, guaranteed. And by Storm, bowlers serving bowlers. Storm is the bowlers company. Welcome back to a packed house at Thunderbowl Lanes. We're in Allen Park, Michigan, just outside of Detroit in the Motor City. Let's take a look back at Pete Weber's first Tournament of Champions victory.
Yeah, it's back in 1987, and what I really like about this video is the lack of ball reaction. It's amazing how far this sport has come. You can see just how straight that ball enters the pins, but it's the same great PDW in action as he beat Jim Murdershaw to win his first Tournament of Champions. And who would have thought it would take Pete 26 years to win his second?
He wins his 10th title.
He had great hair back then, too.
Middle of our opening match, MacLelland plus 17 and Weber working on strategy with tour rep Chris Flemmer.
Well, the first one, the only shot I felt good was the second one. On that lane, and then everything else, I'm thinking so much about this. That I'm not worried, I'm not thinking about anything else, so.
Okay, I mean, you know your hand's in the right spot. You're just going to get your body in the right spot.
No.
Hey, we got fucking how many more frames?
4 more frames.
4 more frames? All right.
Yeah.
Shot to shot, fill it up. Never know.
Yeah.
That's how I play the game.
And what they're talking about is that the reason why Pete is having trouble with the bad ball reaction is his body's out of position. He's not making good shots. He said the only shot that felt good was the shot he threw in the second frame. The keys for Pete when practicing with his brother Rich is to make sure that he keeps his upper body up. He can't tilt early. He also has to bump the ball a little bit to start the push away.
MacLelland doubles, increases his lead to 27. Final 4 frames opening match. Winner gets Wes Malott next.
And that's not what Weber wanted to see, but this is what I spoke about earlier with Dan MacLelland. He's got a really good ball reaction. All he has to do is make good shots, hit his target, and that will be the end result right there.
Talking with Dan and spending some time, he just is so genuine, soft-spoken, and inside that chest beats a big heart. He lost his first 5 matches on television before winning a pair. Now trying to advance in a major. Yes! That's the way it's done. Turkey, 3 in a row.
Pretty good shots right there from Dan MacLelland, and that's how you do it. That's how you take advantage of an opponent's open frame. Dan MacLelland stepped up working on a strike and threw 2 beautiful shots. Now it's a 3-bagger. Pete Weber has to strike out, in my opinion, to have any chance of advancing.
Backed Weber against the wall. Now Weber operates 7th frame.
Well, obviously a much better shot there. He looked more comfortable, looked more in time. Let's watch his hand at the finish here. Follow through. There's the fingers up. This ball's on line with the proper trajectory and speed. Question is, can he repeat the motion here in the 8th frame?
Okay. 8th frame. Weber working on a strike. Must have it here to put any kind of pressure on MacLelland.
Now, rarely do you see Pete Weber struggle with his physical game, but the one thing that I always look for is if his hand is open after he lets go of it, and if the fingers are pointing up. You see the fingers are pointing down. That ball pushed a little bit longer down the lane, and it came in light, and I think Pete felt very fortunate that that ball struck.
And MacLelland lined up now.
Take a look at Dan MacLelland's arsenal using an LX16, the strongest ball that he brought to the party today. I want to make an interesting note here, Mike J. The players in front of Dan MacLelland, Wes Malott, Don Barrett, Jason Belmonte, are all going to be left of him on the lane. They're going to be left of him opening up the lane, kind of like what Pete Weber's doing. My question is, my thought is, how long does his ball reaction last going that straight? Will he be able to stay out on that island by himself for the entire telecast?
We will find out.
Something to watch for.
Something to look for. Weber must strike to the finish. He can max out at 222 foundation frame.
Well, he's found a little something, but the question is it too little, too late? Pete Weber can strike out for 222. Dan MacLelland is already in the 230s. You just rarely see Pete struggle with timing. Again, he's really he only has 2 swing thoughts that he basically sticks with, and I can't remember the last time I saw him out of time and out of balance making shots on television. That time his fingers were pointing straight to the sky. That ball finished perfect in the 1-3. You can hear him, you know, that's how critical it is. Watch the hand on this shot. Remember the last time on this left lane his fingers were pointing in. Look at the fingers pointing up. And you heard Pete say one little thing. Maybe it was the way he was pushing the ball away that got him started. I guarantee you, whatever it was at the start of his approach.
Ten-pin. MacLelland will advance and end the run of the defending champion here at the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions.
Well, let's keep one last thing in mind as we go to say goodbye to Pete Weber. He's 51 years old. He's the defending champion of this event. I think there's a case that you can make about Pete Weber possibly being the greatest of all time. There, I said it.
Pete earned consideration in this year's Player of the Year vote. But Dan MacLelland has chopped down one of the big trees on the way to the title here. Wes Malott will be next, and Dan's family looking on. His support system is here, and the crowd is behind him. Dan's wife, Christy James, Michelle MacLelland, Dan's mom, and sister Ann and brother Steve, as well as friends and family supporting Canadian Dan MacLelland. And now a messenger 10. So the question does remain, will that shot hold up for MacLelland? He's got another major titleist in his way. Dan MacLelland takes on U.S. Open champion Wes Malott when we return to Thunderbowl Lanes. Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions continues. Coming up next Sunday on ESPN at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, it's the PBA Super Clash, the last two PBA Players of the Year. Sean Rash will face Jason Belmonte in a 3-game total pins match. Immediately following next Sunday at 5:30 Eastern, it's the CP3 PBA Remix on ESPN. Barbasol Tournament of Champions rolls on, and our stepladder final score of our opening match, Dan MacLelland defeats Pete Weber 259 to 211, advances to face Wes Malott.
Jason Belmonte.
Earlier this week in Allen Park, Michigan, PBA Tour Commissioner Tom Clark announced the Chris Schenkel PBA Player of the Year Award awarded to Jason Belmonte, just edged out by Sean Rash last year. And now Kimberly Pressler is standing by with the PBA Player of the Year.
Thanks, guys. So, Jason, you won Player of the Year just this week, and for good reason. You showed the world exactly what a two-handed bowler can do. But what do you say to all those naysayers that told you, as a two-handed bowler, you wouldn't go anywhere in this sport?
Look, I think the first thing is when I was a little boy, I used to cry when I used to hear those things. And now, I thank them because they give you the motivation to prove them wrong. They make you work harder just to say to them, I can do it any way I want. I'm going to be the best in the world, and you just watch me do it.
That's a great attitude to have. Now, your fans got a special treat this week because you wore something and bowled a 297-point game. Talk to us about that innovative technology.
Yeah, well, Google has a new device called the Google Glass. It hasn't quite come out to the market yet, but I got a chance to get my hands on a pair, and basically it has a little camera at the front there, and I'm able to record everything that I see as I'm bowling. So, it obviously gives the fans a brand new point of view to watch bowling. It's unprecedented in any other sport at this level. I'm really excited to use it, and I can't wait to show the fans the footage.
Congratulations and good luck today.
Thanks a lot.
Also, a nod to all of our 2012-13 PBA award winners. Of course, Jason Belmonte earning the PBA Player of the Year. E.J. Tackett, the Harry Golden PBA Rookie of the Year. Tony Reyes Community Service Award awarded for the very first time to Parker Bone III. And the Steve Nagy Sportsmanship Award goes to Ryan Schaefer and Randy. Everyone in the bowling community has their hearts out to Ryan Schaefer and his family.
Well, we're all truly saddened by this horrific tragedy. Ryan Schaefer losing wife Shelley. I've known Ryan for a long time, and Ryan, we just want you to know that your PBA family and friends are here for you, and we send our heartfelt prayers and thoughts to you, buddy, and we hope you take care of yourself. And
coming up next, we will continue with our Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions as Dan MacLelland advances to face Wes Malott. Coming up next. Welcome back to Allen Park, Michigan. Continuing live coverage of the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions. Mike Jakubowski with Randy Peterson, Kimberly Pressler reporting Laneside today. Columbia 300 presents this fun fact. Allen Park, Michigan is the 9th city to play host to the PBA Tournament of Champions. Others are Indianapolis, Akron, Fairlawn, Ohio, Lake Zurich, Illinois, Reno, Nevada, Overland Park, Kansas, Uncasville, Connecticut, and Las Vegas. And now Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan, added to the list of great venues that have hosted the signature event of the PBA, the Tournament of Champions, and Dan MacLelland will move on. The high seed Wes Malott has indicated that MacLelland will begin this match. Flat 10.
And the higher seed Wes Malott got the choice of starting lane, so Wes will finish the match on the left lane. Apparently he saw something in practice he liked better on that lane.
One thing Dan mentioned is he's going to set up his game and be 100% committed to his game plan, no matter what his opponents have done in the past or will do today.
Well, you better be. I mean, if you're not committed, when you step up on the approach, you better be totally committed with 100% conviction before you try to let that bowling ball go. It's the only way you have a chance of making good shots and hitting your target.
Wes Malott, defending U.S. Open champion, number 3 seed here, 9-time PBA Tour titleist, looking for his 10th today and 2nd career major. Opening shot. Ten back for Malott. Let's flash back to his victory at the U.S. Open.
Well, he was fortunate to get through match number 1, beating Marshall Kent 200 to 193. But after that, it was all beast. And I'm talking Wes Malott throwing strikes. He beat Pete Weber 279 to 182 and then destroyed Belmonte 214 to 156 to win his first ever major.
Malott, second frame, and rings the 10 that time.
Good pitch, good pitch.
The ball pushes just a little bit longer on that left lane. The left lane playing a little bit tighter or slicker than the right lane, and when that happens, sometimes the ring 10 shows itself if you're a right-hander. Pretty good shot there, though.
Malott picks up the spare. And now Dan MacLelland steps up. And will the shot be able to hold up? Winner in our opening match, dispatching Pete Weber, now taking on another major titleist. Dan defeated Wes Malott in the match play portion of the competition. And back in the pocket, solid with a strike. You know, Dan's been here. He has made now the TV finals in all 4 majors.
Yeah, this is just another really good shot, but you can see just how much straighter Dan's going. And so he's able to do that by keeping his speed up, keeping his hand underneath the bowling ball. And again, talked about it in the first match against Weber. How long will his shot last? Because Wes is left of him, Don Barrett will be left of him, and Belmonte will be left of him.
Looking to double up here, third frame. Solid. 10 back.
MacLelland's making him look easy out there. 259 the first game against Weber doing that. And here against Malott, he starts out 10 pin and then doubles up.
The question on my mind today for Wes Malott, is it pinky in or pinky out
Let's
today?
take a look. Looks like it's pinky in, but I can't see it. And what Mike's referring to is that when Wes Malott decides on what type of rotation he wants to put on the bowling ball, his pinky actually dictates that. So when his pinky is in or touching his ring finger, that's going to create more end-over-end roll. Or excuse me, that's going to create more rotation. When he takes that pinky and spreads it out away from the ring finger, that's going to create more end-over-end roll. Looks like the pinky is in. He's trying to rotate more around the side of the ball.
Oh, ring 10.
And it's pretty obvious when you look at his ball reaction because he's left, sending the ball right, and opening up the lane. If he was rolling it, he would be playing much straighter like Dan MacLelland. He's a good 6 boards left of MacLelland at the arrows. Back-to-back ring 10s. For the man nicknamed the Beast.
Malott fills the frame. He trails by 11. Semifinal matches next. England's Don Barrett awaits. Take a look at what is in Wes Malott's bag. The hook number refers to hook potential.
He's going with the uproar. See, medium reactive ball. Obviously, he's got stronger stuff in the bag, but he likes the reaction of this ball.
6 gets the 10, not the first time. The second time slaps it down.
Instead of going with an aggressive ball, he's going with a less aggressive ball and using his hand. And this was a great look coming right at you, and a nice break, a love tap on the 10 pin. See the 6 go there, and the head of that 6 pin just enough to nudge the 10 out.
MacLelland on a double, 4th frame. Oh, big 4.
Wow. This is exactly what I was talking about in the first match. With the players playing left of Dan, they're using up his hold area. So when Dan misses target left, there's nothing to hold the ball off from doing that.
Picks up the wood, does MacLelland, and hands the lead to Malott on the bench as we navigate the 42-foot Tournament of Champions pattern. And the blue oil is showing us the concentration of oil, with the heavier concentrations toward the middle part of the lane. And then the outside lanes have a lighter color of blue, indicating a lighter concentration of oil. Ring 10.
Both players now fighting the 10 pin. You know, at some point, Dan MacLelland's going to question where he's playing. If his ball's not striking, if it's going through the nose on a miss and splitting, he's going to then have to determine when it's time to move left. And when he moves left, it's going to be 2 arrows left.
Spare for MacLelland, and the blue oil indicates where the traffic is on the lane, also indicates lane breakdown at the end of the 42-foot pattern.
You can also see laydown, you know, where the bowling balls are actually coming into contact with the lane surface, the laydown area when the ball hits the lane. These two players playing two completely different lines, and right now it looks like the inside line's going to play better than the outside line.
No! Double for Malott, increasing the lead he got on the bench. Now leads by 17 after 5 frames.
Well, he got the nice love tap on the 10 in the 4th. Let's take a look at pin reaction here. Oh, that's pretty much 10 back. Wes Malott telling us that he feels like he's back to his Player of the Year form after a couple of years where he was really fighting it.
Definitely says his confidence is back. My mental game is back. I feel I can throw a shot when I need to. 6th frame on the double.
Let's go!
Ruh-roh.
That's some confidence. Malott on a string.
Great shot by Wes Malott. Hey, folks, you know what? When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about how to control the amount of hook on your bowling ball. The easy way. Lots more to come live from Allen Park.
Tonight, be sure to check out as Paul Pierce and the Nets square off against Jeff Green and the Celtics at the Garden. NBA Sunday presented by State Farm. Brooklyn versus Boston tonight at 6:30 on ESPN. Also live on Watch ESPN. Let's learn about bowling equipment in this edition of Track Tech Talk with Randy.
Hey, folks, you see the white circles on the bowling ball? They're called the pin or the riser pin, and it's the location of the top of the weight block. Now, based on the position of the fingers and thumb holes in relation to the pin, you can determine how fast or how slowly the weight block spins. So, in essence, by positioning the pin up, down, left, or right of your grip center, you can create a completely different ball reaction. So let's take the ball on the left. That's called a pin up. This pin location is going to create a reaction where the ball skids through the front part of the lane, goes much longer down the lane before it breaks. So you're looking for length and a lot of back end. That's how you drill this bowling ball. The ball on the right, that's a pin down. Notice the pin is in the center of the grip. This ball is going to roll much sooner. And when the ball rolls sooner and earlier, it loses energy. And so what happens is it totally smooths out the entire reaction. One on the left, long and hook. The one on the right, much more smooth and archy type of reaction.
Action continues in the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions. Wes Malott with a turkey. And Dan MacLelland now trails by 27 pins after handily defeating Pete Weber in our opening match. Spare working for MacLelland, 72 through 4, 6th frame. A little high, 6-pin. Almost worse.
The last time on that lane it was worse. It was a big 4. Dan MacLelland is now at a point where he has to make a big decision, and that decision is, does he stay where he's at and try to make that outside line work, or does he move in where Wes Malott is?
MacLelland fills the frame, spare in the 6th, 4 frames remaining.
You could see on this right lane, look at the light area right there around 2nd arrow. That's where Dan MacLelland's been playing. When you look 3rd arrow and into that 4th arrow, you see how it's light right there? That's where the other players have been playing. Dan's been out on an island throughout the first game and a half of the Tournament of Champions. Let's see how long it'll last. It's time to move, Dan. You got to move into where the oil is the thickest, and that's around 4th arrow. That's where Wes Malott is. That's where Don Barrett's going to be. It's time to make the big move.
MacLelland cross lane, picks up the 6-10, trails by 30 pins, and now Malott in the driver's seat. He's got the ball in hand and a string of strikes working. Talking to Chris Barnes, another player of the year, about Wes Malott, a player of the year. Chris says Wes has the magic hand. What does he mean?
He's got a very unique release. He's about as close to Pete Weber as it gets, but Wes has the side rotation along with roll, and it's just a unique type of release.
Just a tad high, 4-pin.
All right.
Wes can get his bowling ball to return from areas on the lane that other players can't, even though he isn't a real high rev guy. You think about big hooking curveballs, you think Belmonte, yeah, that makes sense. Extremely high rev rate. Wes Malott's just middle of the road in terms of power, but because of the rotation, he's able to do things very few out on this tour can.
Spare for Malott. Stay logged on to PBA.com for all the latest PBA news, tournament results, player updates, and fan promotions. Right now, the PBA is teaming with Barbasol to allow fans to post a pose of their own strike celebrations for a chance to win some great prizes from the PBA and Barbasol. Head to PBA.com, click on the Strike a Pose link, and learn more. 8th frame.
Well, Wes Malott in the driver's seat right now. He's got a 29-pin lead over Dan MacLelland, and Dan has struggled to hit the pocket the last 4 frames in a row. Wes Malott, no trouble at all getting his ball to the pocket. In fact, he hasn't missed the pocket.
Let's see if MacLelland makes the big jump here. 8th frame, trails to Malott. Looks like he made that move.
Yeah, he changed bowling balls as well. He looked like he jumped in a little bit. You gotta watch this. See that track area right there? You can see it. He actually is now in between where he started and where the other guys are. This is good stuff. And without the blue dye in the oil, we'd never be able to see that unless we had cameras right on top of the arrows on the lane. Thank you, Blue Oil.
Foundation frame. MacLelland's got to have this one. Oh, 10-pin roller, no.
at least he made a good shot. You know, you make the change, you have to be committed. He made a good shot, and the ball was just a little soft entering the pocket.
Best MacLelland can do now is 199. Wes Malott in great position to move on to the semifinal. Coming up next, England's Dom Barrett awaits.
Watch the amount of knee bend at the foul line on this shot. You know, you'd mentioned Chris Barnes talking about his release. But Chris, also, we talked a bit about Wes Malott's knee. And he's still having trouble with that knee that he had surgery on a while back, and you could see in that last shot the lack of knee bend. And Chris alluded to the fact that this guy is so good that he can beat you without a knee bend. And when you're 6'5", that's kind of a tough thing to do.
So Wes Malott defeats Dan MacLelland and will move on and get Dom Barrett in our semifinal match. More action coming from Allen Park when the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions begins. Wes Malott advances to the semifinal. The Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions is brought to you by Barbasol, Close Shave America, Close Shave, Barbasol. By Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. By Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. And by Motive Bowling, high-performance equipment with a fresh perspective. Get motivated. Dan MacLelland, 259-211 over Pete Weber in the opening match, and loses the ball reaction as Wes Malott, 248-199, moves to the semifinal as Dom Barrett will face Wes Malott coming up next. And now we throw it down to Kimberly with this report. Kimberly.
Dan, you played really well against Pete, but in the second match, you got a little squirrely there. What went wrong in your lane adjustments?
Well, you know, after bowling so long in a certain area, the front part of the lane is going to burn up a little bit, and it burned up a lot for me in my area. Wes was a little left of me, so, you know, it made it even worse. But, you know, I made a ball change, and it looked better. Should have went to that probably a little sooner. So. Well, you did play well. Are you happy with how you did? Oh, yeah. After the World Series I had, I was a little down in the dumps, but, you know, this is a wonderful experience, always making TV. It was going to be a tough road. You know, these four guys are best on tour, so, you know, I'm happy with my finish.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kimberly. Mike Jakubowski with Hall of Famer Randy Peterson, and you mentioned thanks for the blue oil. It's really innovative. For the very first time, it gives us an unprecedented look at the invisible barrier that this game has presented ever since it's been invented.
Yeah, it's a great tool for myself. The players seem to like it, but I think it's a great thing for the viewers. They can actually see firsthand where the players are playing, the laydown area. You can see the breakdown. You can see the players migrating in. So you can see the before practice, the left lane, there's not an indentation or a mark on it, but look how beat up that oil pattern gets after just 2 matches. Remember that these high-powered bowling balls, every time one of these balls go down the lane, it takes a little bit of amount of oil off of the lane with each and every shot thrown, and that's why the oil pattern gets beat up like it did.
It's an extremely interesting tool, and for the very first time, what would you have done if you would have had this visual reference in your playing days?
I don't know. It may have just confused me more. I think I would have just followed the line like the players are doing today and just continued to move in to try to find more oil.
Well, the blue oil gives you at home the ability to see not only where the lane play occurs at the arrows, but where the transition and breakdown occurs at the end of the pattern. Coming up next at the Barbasol Tournament of Champions, it's the semifinal. Wes Malott takes on the Dominator, Dom Barrett, next live. Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions rolls on at Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan. We've reached the semifinal. Time now for this Ebonite flashback of the Tournament of Champions.
Well, I think this is one of the most memorable moments in the history of professional bowling. Don Johnson's 299 in 1970 against Dick Richter, but it's that image right there of Don Johnson laying on his belly. Then in 2011, Mika Koivuniemi bumps the 10, nudges it. This was done against Tom Doherty, and Mika won a cool $250,000. But there has been a 300 bowled at the Tournament of Champions. In fact, this was the first ever televised 300 game in PBA history. It came from Jack Biondolillo.
The great history of the PBA's signature event, the Tournament of Champions, where only champions qualify, and another major titleist, another reigning champion, the PBA World Champion at this season's World Series of Bowling, ending up in 2012-13. It's the Dominator from Colchester, England. He said he wouldn't spike any towels. We'll see. Opening shot. That one wide, 2-4-10 split.
Okay. Not what you want to see, especially out of practice. That's why I always loved the 3-hole. The position that Wes Malott is in, as you take a look at the 2-4-10, Dom is going to try to get the ball to the left side of the 2-pin, slide it into the 10. I always like the position of that 3-hole in a top 5 stepladder format. You get the 1 game under your belt. You then take on the second seed, which is what Wes is doing right now. You get that game under your belt, and now you're primed to take down the tournament leader. For some reason, the 3-hole just seemed to be the right place to come from.
Malott's opening shot in the semifinal. High flush. Drills it. And opening strike for Wes. Very nice indeed.
Yeah, it looks like Wes Malott has moved even deeper since the last match against Dan MacLelland. And because of that side roll, Wes can move in and really cut the front part of the lane, meaning send it to the right very early and still get it to return.
Great shot of the blue oil in that shot, too, seeing the progression to the left part of the lane. Second frame in the semifinal. Wes Malott is lined up.
Playing the left lane a little bit straighter, the right lane hooks more, and Wes Malott is dialed in.
Real sure, baby. Real sure.
Dom Barrett qualified second, 237.96 average, 16.71 in the round-robin match play portion. And kicks the 10 out late. Strike on the board for the Dominator. And here's Dominic. He is the reigning champion at the PBA World Championship. Went up against Sean Rash in the title match. Rash suffering an open frame. And Dom Barrett needing to double in the 10th for the victory. Back live, and Dominator doubles in the second and third. And Randy at the PBA World Championship. Briefly, Dom forgetting the score.
Yeah, he needed 8 pins after that last strike that we saw, and thankfully for Dom, he was able to compose himself and throw it. And a nice comeback after the open frame in this match against Wes Malott. Wes Malott has won his last 7 consecutive matches on television. He's red hot. 10 pin.
Come on, guys, keep it down over there.
This ball finishing just a little light and a little soft, and leaving that soft 10 pin. See the 6 pin go to the channel and just lay there. Oh, it's coming back after him. You see that?
Lively pits here at Thunderbowl. We saw a number of 7-10 conversions made during the qualifying and match play portion.
Yeah, it's the pin decks, and the sidewalls are very lively, and that creates a lot of pin action. One of the reasons why the scores were so high this week.
In match play, meeting Dom Barrett, Wes Malott took that match. 246-236, earning bonus pins during the match play portion. Wes now up fourth frame. Lucky. He got lucky. I wish I were that lucky.
When you're that good, you know, luck is usually on your side, and I'm not so sure how lucky that shot was. I think it's just a combination of great touch and great rotation that creates this wall shot.
Wes adjusting his piece of bowling equipment. Barrett now on a double fourth frame. And Barrett, after that open, puts together 3 very nice strikes. Even.
Yeah, one of the keys that Dom told us about handling this Tournament of Champion oil pattern was controlling the lane front to back. He didn't want the ball to read early, and he didn't want it to go too long to where he came off the end of the pattern and didn't recover. And speaking of the bowling balls, he's using a high road pearl, and he's been able to control his reaction nicely after the first frame. Terrible. Uh-oh. Unfortunately, there's no defense in this sport, Mike J. And as soon as he let go of this, you heard him say terrible, and then, of course, he, being the gentleman that he is, he apologized to Wes Malott for that lucky strike. There's the sorry, and carry on.
Man, that's high. 6-10 for Wes.
A similar hit to Barrett's. No such luck for Wes Malott as he goes high on the right lane. That lane breaking down now. Wes Malott didn't anticipate the transition, so now the next time on this right lane, he'll make an adjustment with his feet and his target left.
Heard the ball bounce twice there, Randy. I know the players call it a double dribble. What causes that?
It's the launch angle off of the lane. Wes Malott not able to get real low to the foul line, and when he's throwing a spare, the ball comes off at a little bit steeper angle into the floor, and that'll create the ball to bounce.
We're through 5 frames, semifinal match, Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions. Winner advances here to face Jason Belmonte, PBA Player of the Year. 6th frame. And he kicks the 10 out, so Malott strikes. And it's anybody's match at this point in the semifinal. Wes Malott trailing for the first time in this match. Dom Barrett, after an open frame, puts together an impressive string of strikes. The return and more semifinal action when we come back. Welcome back to Allen Park, Michigan, historic Thunderbowl Lanes, the host of the 2014 Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions. And it's the opportunity for a Barbasol close shave of the day. Catching the break on the crossover hit.
Close to leaving a split. And what a huge break that was, because it went on a 3-bagger and turned a 3-bagger into a 4-bagger. Now, a little bit earlier, we heard Wes Malott and Hall of Famer and Tour Rep Del Ballard having a conversation about what move or adjustment Wes will make on the right lane.
To the right. Now I just don't know if I move to left and try and even get softer with it, or if I just stay there.
I would probably make it.
I think so too. I think so too.
Wes was talking about he didn't know whether or not to stay there or move his feet to the left, and Del Ballard confirmed told him, well, if it was me, I would move left. And sometimes that's all a player needs is some confirmation.
Barrett on the four-bagger. He leads by 10 pins here in the 6th semifinal. Just a bit high. Kicks out the 10. 4 remains.
If we're keeping score of who's getting all the good breaks, and right now it's Dom Barrett. Remember the nosedive and then backs it up with a shot that goes a little bit high, almost leaving a 4-10 pocket split.
Dom Barrett, very aware of the importance of the PBA signature event.
You know, just because I'm not from this country doesn't mean to say that I don't know everything about bowling's history, and I know exactly how much this tournament means and what it would mean for my career if I could win another major. And you know, I can't look too far ahead with that, but you know, I'm definitely there aware of how big this tournament is.
Oh, 2-8-10 split.
A treat.
They went high on it the last frame on the left lane. Now he goes light, 2-8-10. Staring almost a certain open frame in the face.
Seven frame with one more time that time. That stinks.
Now Wes Malott, after the open frame and a strike working.
Well, he took the lead sitting on the bench. Now he can increase it to 15 with a strike here in the 7th frame. Let's see if his adjustment pays off.
It's all me.
Now you heard him say it was all him, so nothing disturbed him.
Shot clock violation and a reset for Malott. Semi-final match here at the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions. Jason Belmonte, the tournament leader, awaits in the title match. Malott with a chance to take advantage of Barrett's open frame. 7th frame. Oh, 6 around the 10.
That was a good shot.
Well, he made the adjustment. He moved in to the center part of the lane. Probably a 2-1 or 3-1 move, meaning 2 or 3 boards with his feet, 1 with his target. Makes a great shot, and then that result. The good news.
That red stuff off that lane, please.
Something on the approach Wes would like to have removed. The good news, it's actually on the lane.
Sorry, I looked down there.
PBA lane maintenance director Mark Sabatine with a cameo. Also our foul line judge, as Malott will line up cross lane at the 10 pin.
And the reason why that bothers him is because he looks very close to the foul line. Most players are looking at the arrows, or maybe just a little past the arrows. Wes Malott targets long, and then as he's going to the approach, draws his eyes in. Take a look at his eyes right here. Targets down lane, then draws the eyes towards the foul line. Very unique, but he says, hey, it's my way, and it's the only way I know how.
Neither player on a strike were within a mark. 8th frame, semifinal. Right.
Another 10 pin.
Got to try and stay ahead of it, though.
So what he's talking about is staying ahead of the transition. The lane's breaking down. He would rather do that than go through the nose. These little subtle moves, staying ahead of the oil changing, the oil pattern breaking down.
For the very first time, we can see that process with the blue oil oiled out to 42 feet at the PBA Tournament of Champions.
And you can see where they started at 10, or that second arrow. Now they're already in the 4th arrow, and that's what happens when you throw high-powered bowling balls on oil. They absorb the oil and actually take oil off of the lane.
Talk to Dom. He has a process called a game reset, where he gets to control his distances, whether the ball will hook early or go longer. I wonder if he's game resetting right now. 8th frame. Messenger goes wide, 10 pin.
Well, he's pretty good on the right lane. I think he's got a pretty good blueprint for that lane, but the left lane is not to his liking. 4-pin match with a spare here. Heading down to the foundation frame, 9th frame, setting up the 10th.
Randy, very subtle change in the match. Wes Malott, it's looked like he was unstoppable, and now each player has slowed down, and it's anyone's match here, 9th and 10th frame.
Wes Malott's only missed the pocket once this entire match, but he only has one double to show for it. Don Barrett has an open frame in the 1st, an open frame in the 7th. It's been very iffy on this left lane. The good news for him, though, is that he doesn't have to finish the match on this left lane.
High, trips the 4. Another break for the Dominator.
Another huge, potentially huge break. If this could lead to a string of strikes, if Dom can finish the 10th frame, this shot right here may have just won him the match. Whatever he does, he can't shut out Wes Malott, but right now Wes Malott can shut out Don Barrett by striking out 9th and 10th frame.
Wes Malott in the foundation frame. No.
Another ringing 10. Now, if Don Barrett doesn't trip the 4-pin in the 9th, that ringing 10's not so bad because Wes could then cover the spare, strike out in the 10th, and still win the match. With a spare here, Wes can now only shoot 217. Don Barrett can shoot 224.
Covers the 10-pin, gives it a ride out of the pit again.
Remember the last time on the left lane, Wes Malott left a soft 10. In fact, Wes Malott has left 3 consecutive 10 pins in a row. He hasn't struck since the 6th frame.
Three-pin lead, 10th frame.
Four 10 pins in a row. Wes Malott needs to spare here and get at least 9 on his bill shot to force Don Barrett to strike first ball in the 10th frame. It's going to be another shot clock violation for Wes Malott. Now it's going to start dipping into his pocket.
Again, rolling the 10-pin around the back of the deck. Fill ball for Wes Malott for 206.
He's got to have 9 to force Don Barrett to strike. Wow.
Another 10 pin.
5 10 pins in a row to finish the game. Unbelievable for a guy whose carry percentage is usually pretty high. Now Don Barrett needs to strike first ball in the 10th frame. If he does, he'll advance to the title match, take on Jason Belmonte.
Barrett said, you want to compete at the highest level, you have to learn a few things. He learned it at the PBA World Championship, earning his first PBA major title. And now he's 1 strike away from advancing to the title match at another major to face Jason Belmonte. Must strike Dominic Barrett, 10th frame.
Oh, my! How did that stand? The messenger misses.
Unbelievable hit right here in the 10th frame. We were talking about all the good breaks that he got this match. That was the worst break you could possibly imagine. It's almost like he ran out of those breaks. Wes Malott's going to advance to take on Jason Belmonte.
Hold a bit of game this time. Come on.
Take a look one more time of the pin action. That last shot from Don Barrett. Watch this. I mean, this ball just comes in and disintegrates the rack, and the head pin actually goes behind the 10 pin. Unbelievable.
Wes Malott, the rewards of a clean game carry him to the title match against the PBA Player of the Year, Jason Belmonte. Title match next. Welcome back to the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions, Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan, just outside of Detroit, setting up for our title match as Jason Belmonte will face Wes Malott. The competition on the slopes wraps up today on ESPN. It gets started at 2 with medal events, including the men's ski slopestyle final. Then picks back up at 9 with the main event of Winter X Games, the final of the men's snowboard superpipe. X Games Aspen today at 2 and 9 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. Kimberly Pressler is laneside with Dominic Barrett.
Dom, it came right down to the last frame. How disappointed are you in this loss?
You know, I didn't bowl my best game, and I think Wes is the same. He didn't bowl his best game, so I had a lucky strike earlier on in the match, and you know, those things seem to even themselves out. And I threw a good enough shot at the 10th frame. I'm happy with how I threw it. They don't always fall down. Today wasn't my day for that reason, but I wish the other guys the best of luck.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kimberly. Randy, interesting, the slowing pace kind of slowed down there in the semifinal match, which sets up our championship. What's left on the lane for Jason Belmonte to operate with?
There's plenty of oil left on the lane for him, and even if there wasn't, he takes to the air. We've seen him loft the ball over the left gutter cap more than once out on this tour. The question I have, though, is Wes Malott going to figure out why he left so many 10 pins in the last match? Because I promise you one thing, if he leaves 5 10 pins in a row against Jason Belmonte, he's not going to win.
Well, let's look at the migration of the oil with the new PBA Blue Oil.
The players started this telecast around second arrow. They're all the way into about the 21st or 22nd board. That's just slightly left of the center arrow. So that's how much the lanes have transitioned after 3 matches. So there's still enough oil for Jason Belmonte to operate. Wes Malott, he's got to cure the 10-pin-itis.
Coming up next, it's a battle of major titleists and former players of the year and the reigning PBA Player of the Year. Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions title matches next. Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions rolls on at Allen Park, Michigan. We're at Thunderbowl Lanes. Uninterrupted action in our title match is coming up next, but first, it's the Geico Championship recap with Randy.
Thanks, Mike. Match number 1, it was PDW taking on Dan MacLelland. Pete Weber struggled throughout this match with timing. Ended up to 2 open frames. Pete just couldn't overcome the deficit. Dan MacLelland lined up playing that nice straight line. He finishes the match with a 7-bagger. He takes Pete Weber down 259 to 211. Then in the next match, Dan MacLelland still trying to play that straighter line from out. Well, he struggled against Wes Malott. Lost his reaction. Wes Malott, well, he found a nice reaction. Wes had a 5-bagger and a 3-bagger en route to a 248 to 199 victory. And then in our last matchup, it was Wes Malott taking on Don Barrett. It was survival of the fittest. Wes Malott got 9 a lot. In fact, 5 9 spares in a row. Now the stage was set. Don Barrett needs this strike to advance to the title match. Oh my gosh! A massive messenger 10-pin. Wes Malott advances to the title.
Title match, uninterrupted handshake between the reigning PBA Player of the Year, Jason Belmonte, and tournament leader and former Player of the Year, Wes Malott, 9-time titleist, looking for his 10th career and 2nd overall major. 10 frames to determine a champion among champions. Top seed indicates that Malott opens this match on the left lane. And he does so with a strike.
And a ball change. Wes Malott's going to finish the match on the right lane, the lane that curves the most out of the two lanes. Jason Belmonte is going to finish first, and he'll finish on the left lane.
Here he is, the brand new Chris Schenkel PBA Player of the Year, as voted by the membership of the Professional Bowlers Association, the Australian two-hander Jason Belmonte. Opening shot, title match. Perfect shot. Jason Belmonte beat Wes Malott for his major title at the Masters.
Well, he was just spectacular on this day, and I think the thing that really stood out to me the most was his position and balance at the foul line, how steady his head was. It just helped him to repeat shots and make great shots and lead to his first major victory.
Belmonte working on the strike now, second frame. First crack at the left lane. Skates a little wide, avoids the 210, just a 10-pin.
Take that.
It'll be interesting to see just how much Jason Belmonte's rev rate influences this oil pattern and how it affects Wes Malott's reaction. Pretty fortunate here, though. That ball comes in light. That could have been a 2-8-10 very easily. Instead, it's just a 10-pin.
Same style for Belmonte, cross lane at the 10-pin. His spare game has actually improved quite a bit over the last 5 years.
Yeah, he still doesn't use his thumb when he's throwing a spare ball, but he does use a plastic ball, kind of end-over-end roll. Doesn't hook a whole lot, so it's definitely one of the things that he works diligently on. You can't be a top-notch player out here without having a great spare game. You see the comparison for Wes Malott. 10 strikes out of 14 on the left. Not so good on the right.
Oh, now super washout. 1, 2, 4, 6, 10.
Okay. He makes the ball change. It works on the left lane, and on the right lane where there's more friction, this ball never hooks. That's a 5-count super washout. 1, 2, 4, 6, 10.
Fits it between the 1 and the 6 conversion.
That's as good as a 9 spare because he's working on a strike. He doesn't lose any count.
I think I've got to. Oh, I got to.
Here's another look at the hammer. Tough spare replay.
I mean, I can't run out of shot that doesn't hit the head pin.
Gets the ball just right of the head pin. The ball deflects off of the head pin into the 610, covers it nicely. Big question mark, though. Now he's going to make another ball change, even though he struck on the left lane first ball.
Curve.
Rips the 7 out. Strike 4, Wes Malott.
That was a rack shredder. I mean, this is a great heavyweight fight. I mean, Wes Malott is going back and forth with bowling balls, and we're only in frame 3. That ball just throwing pins around like they were made out of balsa wood.
Belmonte up third frame. He says, physics say my ball hits harder. I've worked to repeat at any speed with any release. 246 average, qualifying as the tournament leader.
Well, remember we talked about it at the top of the show, and is this guy the best player on tour? And I believe that he is unbeatable based on the gift that he has with his two-handed style. The power is unmatched. And when he's repeating shots, meaning when he's getting from the start of the approach to the foul line on a consistent basis, and his accuracy is at a premium, his release is going to be very consistent. And when that happens, I don't believe anybody can beat him on this tour.
Belmonte has 3 keys to repetition. Look for the ball movement in the swing, his foot speed, and the balance at the line. Fourth frame, looking to double. Kicks the 10 out double for Jason Belmonte.
You know, the one thing that we forgot to mention was that because of the amount of power it creates a tremendous amount of pin carry. He's got the highest striking percentage on tour. Nobody out-carries this guy. When his ball hits the pins, they have no chance. So when you're throwing it at the head pin or at the 1-3 pocket, and your carry percentage is 90% when your ball gets there, kind of hard to beat that.
In fact, Jason said he felt he only threw 15 bad shots in his 49 games at the tee of C.
Wes Malott also looking to double. And he gets the 10 to fall. All even.
Is this the magic orb? Is this the correct ball?
Each player has mirrored the scoreboard. Strike, spare, double. Wes Malott will be the first to operate. Fifth frame.
Oh. Whenever you hear a player say or yell push, push, that means they've gotten the ball inside of target and they're hoping that the ball can straighten itself out and not go high. That's exactly what this ball did. You see how it kind of rolled out and stopped right before it got to the 1-3, but the ball still went by the 9-pin. Easy.
Picked it up. All you got to do is knock it over. By USBC rule, put a slash in the box. Spare for Malott.
Jason Belmonte, he says he strives to dominate. I want to leave a legacy like Mark Roth did. I want to be in that class. Earned his first PBA Player of the Year award, looking to add another major title to his resume. Fifth frame.
This guy's been dominating the majors as of late. 7 out of the last 8 telecasts he's been on. Finished second at this last year's U.S. Open. As you take a look at his arsenal, throwing an uproar. Led this tournament by a ton. Led the U.S. Open by a ton. Won the Masters. Lost to Pete Weber at the Tournament of Champions last year. Like I said, when this guy gets it going, and when he's in full stride, this guy is unbeatable. The only chance you have is beating this guy in a 1-game match, but over 49 games, forget it.
Fourth pin.
Good shot.
The one key that Jason Belmonte did tell me that he had to maintain was the proper ball speed. His tendency is to get fast and overthrow it, which is very common with a two-handed bowler. Their feet have to get moving so fast to create ball speed. Sometimes he can overcook it. That was interesting.
Stuck on the natural surface. It's a natural wood approach with the synthetic lane combination. Here's another look.
Easy. No foul. And he converted the 4-pin, so no harm, no foul.
Six-frame title match. Malott trails by 10 pins on the spare.
Solid in the pocket. Malott with an X.
Wes Malott over the 2012-13 season. 2 titles, ranked him tied for second. 228 average for the season.
Finished 4th in Player of the Year voting. Needs to get back on the strike train.
10 pin.
Again, it's the left lane.
Wesley, come on. Believe in it.
Can't afford to give Belmonte too many opportunities here. That was his chance to pull the match even. Didn't make a very good shot there, leaving the 10-pin. It was a soft 10. Remember, the last time on that lane, it was a stone 9. He's got to somehow find a way to strike. He's got one more shot on that left lane. Right lane looks pretty good for him right now. Belmonte taking lots of time. This guy been in the pocket every shot. 10 pin in the second, 4 pin in the sixth.
Shakes up the rack just a bit wide, but blows out the 4-pin.
Jason Belmonte's going to take a re-rack on the left lane. Let's take a look at his pin carry. Remember, I talked about it earlier, about all that power and the tremendous strike percentage, carry percentage. I mean, that ball barely catches a piece of the head pin, and it doesn't matter. So much force and power going through those pins that they just don't stand a chance against Jason Belmonte.
Cheers, boys.
Mass times acceleration is the simple math, and this man, Jason Belmonte, creates more of it than anyone.
Mike, I was told there would be no math.
Always math in bowling. Title match, Belmonte toes the line.
Look out.
Oh, almost
wow.
a 2-8-10, just a 10.
Big time break right there. That ball scoots off the end of the pattern. I talked about how Belmonte has to maintain proper ball speed. This is a little too firm. Comes off the end of the pattern. The ball does not grip the lane, and it was almost devastation. Huge break, tripping up a 2-8 late. Huge.
Picks up the 10 pin and a spare for Belmonte. 10 pin advantage. With a pair of strikes here, Wes Malott can even this title match. I'd like to thank Tom Strobel, owner here at Thunderbowl Lanes, his great support of the PBA over the years, the original host of the World Series of Bowling back in 2009, hosting regional events. Big thanks to Tom and his staff. Now Wes, 8th frame, gets that first strike. Randy sets himself up.
Well, the right lane hasn't been the issue in this match for Wes Malott. It's the left lane, and right now, if I was Wes, I would look back on my U.S. Open victory and recall on that energy and focus before I stepped up and threw this shot on the left lane. Max score for Malott, 239. Max score for Belmonte, 239.
Strike, and we are even.
May have been the biggest shot of the week for Wes Malott right there. We'll have to wait and see what happens in the 10th frame, but he sure set himself up. Now, no matter what Jason Belmonte does, 9th and 10th frame, he cannot be shut out. What a great touch he put on this shot. Comes in and swishes the rack, and look at that react. He knows the score.
Now Belmonte up, foundation frame, working on the spare. Same max, 239. He strikes, and we have the possibility of a tie.
A little softer speed, the ball checked up off the end of the pattern and finished flush. Got to be very careful with this next shot. I'm still curious as to why he chose to finish on this left lane. Maybe he wanted Malott to sit and wait. Who knows? Maybe he really likes his reaction on that left lane and hasn't made the shots necessary. The last 2 times on the left lane, he went high for a 4-pin. The last shot on the left lane, almost disaster, tripping out the 2-8, only leaving the 10.
High, 6-10.
Well, a lot of times a player will overcompensate based on the last shot. Remember, he went light, almost leaving the 2-8-10 split. This time gets a little too soft. This ball overreacts. Looks like it was a bit farther right as well. And again, through the nose, leaving the 610. Another nice break, not leaving the split. He has opened the door wide open for Wes Malott. Almost chopped the 610.
Re-rack.
He's going to take a re-rack. He's going to let Malott sit a bit.
Mate.
With a strike here, he will force Wes Malott to strike on the first ball in the 10th frame to win. If Wes doesn't,
Come on, mate.
Belmonte can still win. The strike here is 219. 9-18. We have a possibility of a tie.
Get this one.
Finish.
First frame.
Much better shot. Wasn't near as far right. Proper speed and a great result. Now, Wes Malott gets up in the 10th frame, seeking his second major in the last 6 months. Wes Malott has to strike on this ball. Anything less than a strike, Jason Belmonte wins the 2014 Barbasol Tournament of Champions.
Looking to win his second major, his 10th overall title. That's Hall of Fame territory. One strike between him and the goal. And some more time to think about it.
You heard what he said. He said, you got to commit, you got to commit. The reason why he balked, he is not committed to the shot. Lots of thoughts going on, and you can't have that. You can't execute. You got to turn the computer off. Look at the target, put your hand on the ball, and go. Put it on autopilot.
Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions in the balance on this shot. Must strike. Jason Belmonte is the winner of the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions.
I can promise you Wes Malott did not throw that good. And it's unfortunate. He balked before he got up and threw it. Don't know what his commitment level was, but it was a poorly thrown shot. And Jason Belmonte wins sitting on the bench.
Second major, 8th overall title. Just earned PBA Player of the Year honors. And now Jason Belmonte, with the big lead in the tournament, will take home the trophy. When we come back to Thunderbowl Lanes in Allen Park, Michigan, we will award the trophy to Jason Belmonte as Wes Malott finishes up. Disappointment for Wes. The match was his, but Belmonte prevails.
Thank you, Storm, Barbasol, PBA, my family back home.
We'll talk to Jason Belmonte, Tournament of Champions winner, when we return to Thunderbowl Lanes.
The Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions is brought to you by Barbasol, Close Shave America, Close Shave, Barbasol. By HotelPlanner.com, the best place to book hotel rooms, best rate guaranteed. By Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. And by the USBC, the national governing body servicing the needs of bowling. To learn more, visit us on bowl.com.
Jason Belmonte, 219 to 218, the final in the 2014 Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions, and it came down to this 10th frame.
Jason Belmonte could have struck out and forced Wes Malott to do the same, but instead he throws a bad shot, goes through the nose. But his fill shot was just as important when he struck. Wes Malott needs all 10. Poor shot, gets 9, loses by 1.
Wes Malott had it in his hands and it slipped through his fingers.
Kimberly Pressler is standing by with Jason Belmonte. Kimberly.
Jason, it came right down to the wire. What was going through your mind while you had to sit there and watch Wes in that last frame?
Look, I thought he was lucky that entire game, and he outbowled me. And I was...
Mate.
Your first ever win of the Tournament of Champions.
I did say that if I won, I was going to shave with Barbasol cream. So
there you go. It looks good on you. Congratulations.
Anybody got a razor? Who's got a razor? Bill O'Neill, this is not over. This is far from over, Bill O'Neill.
Congratulations, Jason Belmonte. He earned that shave. Coming up next Sunday at 4 Eastern, it's the PBA Super Clash. The last two PBA Players of the Year, Sean Rash and Jason Belmonte, do battle. 3 games, total pins. Immediately following on Super Bowl Sunday, the CP3 PBA Remix. Next Sunday, 5:30 Eastern on ESPN. Four major titleists and Dan MacLelland did battle. Wes Malott had potential victory in his hands, and Jason Belmonte is your Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions winner. For Randy Peterson and Kimberly Pressler, this is Mike Jakubowski. Congratulations to Jason Belmonte, Tournament of Champions.